Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's look is supposed to be based on the Candy King from the playful delicious game Candyland, which is also part of a collaboration I'm doing with a whole bunch of other different artists. Now I'm not really gonna get into them that much because this video will be like hours long, but their work is amazing, phenomenal. You guys should definitely go check them out. All their information will be down below as well as the character they are portraying, so please make sure to go check them out. But if you want to see how I did this look, then just keep on watching. First things first, as per usual, I'm sketching out the Candy King's clothes and features using the NYX's Jumbo pencil in Milk. Now, using a white or a nude pencil in specific will be a lot easier to erase if you make any mistakes. Also, looking at a reference picture will be the best option for this since his outfit does have quite the detail. Then with the Paradise Paint by Mehron in yellow, I'm filling in what I think is kind of an armor made out of pancakes or cookies. I really do not know. I really haven't studied this outfit, but it's what it looks like to me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call him that. And then keeping a bit of a line of separation between them so that I do not get confused. With white Paradise Paint, I'm making stripes on the sleeves puffs and then adding pink in between to get kind of like a peppermint type of pattern. Using the exact same dark pink, I'm also filling in the cape and the jewel that connects the cape together. Mixing white with the pink to get an even lighter pink and then filling in the sleeves before filling in the color with white. Now I'm using a silver body paint from Mehron and filling in the ring around the jewel. So now we're gonna get shady, because we're going to start shading and adding dimension to this outfit with the Morphe 35O palette. However, any type of brown and black shadows will pretty much do the trick, so I'm picking up this warm taupey shade and a fluffy flat brush from Morphe and shading underneath and in between each of the little pancake cookie thingies. Then taking a slightly more orange shade, I'm creating a line a centimeter away from the edge of the pancake and then blending it up so that it gives off the illusion that it's actually three-dimensional. With a darker brown and a slightly smaller yet fluffy brush, I'm getting into all those smaller areas to add a bit more depth. Now I'm using a little bit of black eyeshadow and I'm going to start adding realism to this cape by adding all the wrinkles and the folds. Now I'm also switching back and forth with using some dark pink shadows to help blend the black a little bit easier into the cape. Now this is quite a very repetitive step in most of my tutorials, but highlighting is key to making clothes look realistic. So I'm laying down a base of white Paradise Paint before going over it with a brush I used to fill in the cape, which still has a little bit of the pink in it, and then blending it out so that the white is kind of like diffused instead of being a white harsh line. I'm cleaning my brush using the Veramona Color Switch sponge before taking a gray eyeshadow and adding a shadow a centimeter away from the very edge of the color and then blending it down. Also creating the shadows that will be casted by the cape onto the color. This was actually quite fun to create. So, take a sponge with an uneven texture, preferably kind of like a sea sponge, and then swirl it around white body paint till you pick up a bunch of the product, and then stipple it on the edge of the cape, and this is going to create kind of like that fur texture that most capes tend to have. You know, that kind of like furry, white, kind of like fluffy thingy at the edge of the cape? Yeah, that thing. With black eyeshadow, I'm shading underneath and above the line of the fur to make it seem as if it's casting a shadow on what's behind it. Now taking the white and a small fine tip brush, I'm going to start dotting the paints on the tops and the bottom of the fur, which is basically going to highlight the fur and create the actual individual kind of like fluff texture. Now highlight all the edges of the pancakes to make sure that they stand out even more. Now I'm using Beach Berry by Mehron, which is a really vibrant bright red, and I'm using this to create all the cherries and the bottom middle of the pancakes. Now, I've gotten quite the comments that these look very wrong. I can pretty much agree. With a bit of black, I'm shading underneath each cherry to add realism. Then highlighting using white. With gold metallic paint by Graftobian, I'm painting what would be the cuffs on the ends of both the peppermint puffs. Now with the white, I'm attempting my best to highlight the puffs and make them look more silky and shiny like actual peppermint, and also because of the fabric, and then adding highlights to the jewel with white paint and using dark pink shadows to shade and add dimension. Now I'm taking different small brushes and dotting different colored paints on the fur to make it look like sprinkles. Now I'm mainly using purples, reds, and greens because that's what the Candy King has, but you can use as many or as little colors as you want. Also adding red dots to the golden cuffs. Moving on to the face. Now I am prepping and priming by spraying Fix Plus by MAC all over my face and neck and letting it dry before adding anything else. And after the primer has dried, I'm taking the Kat Von D's Lock-It Foundation in the shade Medium 57 and I'm applying this all over the face using a regular cosmetic sponge. Then I'm applying concealer to highlight the under eye, the T-zone, chin, tip of the nose, the top of the lip, and basically to brighten up the face as well, and then blending away. Now I'm using the Maybelline Master Concealer in the shade Light Medium if you guys aren't interested. I used to walk these roads with you. Then using the NYX's SFX Cream Makeup in white to further bump up the brightness and give me a slightly paler complexion. To set everything, I'm using the Airspun Coty Powder and pretty much just baking the face by first adding it to the under eye to prevent any creasing, and then pressing the rest of the powder on the rest of my face and letting it cook there for a while to help the foundation last longer. Now, moving on to the eyes. Now, remember that colorful palette I was using earlier on in this video? It's back in all its colorful glory, because we're going to glam this king up by first starting off with these soft pale pinks and using them as my transition shades. Blend these shades along the crease, touching the corner below where the brow starts as kind of like a little contour shade. Using some of the darker pinks and adding them to the outer corner of the eye and then blending them into the crease to add some dimension. With the NYX's Jumbo Pencil in Milk, I'm adding this as a primer base on the lid and then patting on top of it the yellow eyeshadow from the same palette on my eyelids. Now, I applied the white shade first so that the yellow really stands out once I pat it onto the lid. Then blending some of the pinks from the outer corner into the yellow, and this actually made a really soft orange transition. Further adding those hot pinks to the corner below my brow, and then adding purple to the lower lash line. Now, I did have to run a little bit of the white pencil as a base, because at first the purple wasn't really standing out as much as possible, but look at the difference, pow! Softening down the edges of the purple with the M433 brush again with the leftover pinks and blending it a little bit with the outer corner of the eye. Then I'm running the Jumbo Pencil in Milk on both my waterlines to make them look more opened up and round. Then I'm dusting away all the bake using a fluffy powder brush and moving on to adding some dimension to this potato face. I'm using the Morphe 9C Contour and Highlight Palette and pretty much just using all the contour shades because this boy is indecisive, and contouring my cheekbones and forehead, trying to make this 5 head kind of like a forehead a little bit, and then using a fluffy brush from Do Color to do this. To add a tiny bit of color to this contour, I'm using the NYX's Primal Color eyeshadow in Hot Fuchsia and adding this to the contours of the face, which actually kind of made it look more like a bronzer in a way. And then I'm taking the Primal Color in Hot Pink and I'm adding this as blush to the apples of the cheeks and then working my way up towards the temple. Also running this across the nose before using the exact same pink shadows from before and running them along sides of my nose as contour. To remove any powderiness and set the makeup, I'm spraying Fix Plus all over my face and then letting it dry before adding a little bit more purple to the inner corner of the eye below the brow. Now, the Candy King is rocking some pretty pink eyebrow action, so I'm taking the Milk pencil once more and dragging it along the brow to blank them out before adding pink body paint over them using the Furless Cosmetics ME2 angled brush. In order to make my hair pink, I first watered down Mehron's Paradise Paint in white and poured it on my airbrush and sprayed it all over my hair, and I think it took me about 2 or 3 layers of it to get it as opaque as I wanted, and then taking pink and mixing it with a little bit of white and then airbrushing it all over my hair so that it stands out as much as possible. Also using the same technique to pretty much paint the beard. To add the hair texture to the beard, I'm taking the dark pink and a fine tip brush and doing hair-like strokes all over the beard and mustache, making sure to create these kind of like in the direction where the hair grows, and then taking white and highlighting the hairs before taking some brown eyeshadow and creating the shadows casted by the mustache on the face. I felt like I needed more detail, so I went ahead and created some more highlights here and there, but nothing too crazy. And with red, I drew an embroidering along the color and then creating the shadows casted by the color on my neck. Now it's time for highlight! My favorite part ever! I'm using my very well loved Anastasia Moonchild Glow Kit by first starting off with the purple horseshoe shade and then using this fluffy fan brush by Morphe and adding this to the tops of my cheekbones and tip of my nose. Then taking pink heart with the Morphe M510 brush and adding this over the purple horseshoe to get this beautiful pink reflect to it, and it's gorgeous. I'm obsessed. I'm adding this to the usual highlight places such as the cheekbones, brow bone, tip of the nose, and the cupid's bow. Because the eyes are so intense, I wanted to balance everything out with a nude lip, so I'm using the NYX's Liquid Suede in Sandstorm. Added some white body paint as mascara to both my top and bottom lashes after putting on my contact lenses from DesiOIS.com in the style Icy Blue. And that is pretty much it for this Candy King tutorial. I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the links will be down below, as well as the list of products I used in this video. Also, don't forget to check out all the other artists in this collaboration. They all did so amazing. I'm so happy to be a part of this, and thank you so much, Daniel, for inviting me to be a part of this collab. I really had a lot of fun making this look. I'm so happy with it, and yes, now I really hope to see you next time, and bye!